If more hours were the secret to success, you'd be a millionaire. But you're not. Instead, you're exhausted. Let's talk about how to get unstuck. The first thing is that if you truly believe that you need to put in more hours in order to get more out, in order to get more money, in order to grow your business to the level that you're looking for, that actually means that you have a limiting belief that you need to acknowledge. And that limiting belief is that more hours translates to harder work. And harder work translates to more money. But that's simply not the case, especially in this day and age. And in fact, I would go as far as saying that that limiting belief, that framework of understanding the relationship between work and money, effort and money, is actually constructed by the 9-to-5. I truly believe it is the corporate world that delivered that framework to all of us, and we just eat it up. We 100% believe it, but here's the thing, it just does not apply to being an entrepreneur or being a business owner. I will never forget the first time that I made $2,000 in 2 hours. This was around 2018, 2019, and I actually left work early. I left my corporate job early to go to this one opportunity. And honestly, guys, it literally altered my brain chemistry, because you have to understand that $2,000, that's like how much I was making in 2 weeks at my job. So for so long, I had such a hard time wrapping around the fact that in a few hours, I made how much I made at my job literally in 80 hours over the course of 2 weeks. And it genuinely did not require me working harder. In fact, it was way easier. So you need to completely ditch this mindset that was forced on you by corporate America and leave behind the hustle culture, the hustle bros who dominated the entrepreneurial industry for so long, and understand that if you are a solopreneur, if you're the only person in your business, or if you have a very small team of, a virtual assistant, a couple of contractors, just know that you are your business and you can make your business look like whatever you want it to look like. And for most people, that does not involve working more hours. In fact, it usually involves working less hours to get back more freedom and really live your life to the maximum level possible. Let's talk about what actually moves the needle and what you should focus on. The first is high leverage activities or revenue generating activities. I talk about this all the time on this channel about how a lot of the times people are just focused on the wrong things in their business. You don't often have to generate a bunch of new service offerings. You don't have to start doing a million more things than you were doing last year. You just need to double down on what works. I always say that good operations is about doing the right things at the right time every day. And here's the thing, a lot of the times people are present in their business every day, hustling, grinding, putting in long hours, but they're often focused on the wrong things every day. Or they do the right things, but not consistently, not every day. It's a really tricky balance to get right. And if you need help identifying where you should really be focusing your time and effort, I have a free resource down below for you in the description box. So make sure you grab that and work through it. Okay, so we've taken the first step towards working smarter in our business, right? We now have identified what the things that we should be working on are. But then what? Then what do we do? Then we step into our CEO energy. We put on our CEO thinking cap and we make the big girl or big boy decisions that we have to make. How do we really start creating structure and systems in our business? Meaning, how can we set up our business to really structure it in a way that allows us to achieve the end goal? And again, that end goal looks different for everybody, but a lot of the times it'll look like making more money, having a higher profit, and not working insane hours in our business. There are so many big decisions we can make from here. I'm gonna go over a couple of them with you. The first is, what are the things that we as the CEO, as the founder, continue to do day to day in our business? If you go through the resource down below in the description box, that process will actually walk you through what it is that you as the CEO should be focused on. Ideally, we want to get to a place where we can outsource and delegate, meaning we have the task that we should be working on, but all the other stuff we're handing off to somebody else. That's a really powerful position to be in, because here's the thing, you are not an expert in everything. You are doing everything in your business because that's just the nature of being an entrepreneur. That's the nature of starting a business. But if you have to continue you doing everything in your business all the time, that's an indication that there are cracks somewhere. Either you haven't scaled to a point where you're profitable enough to be able to pay somebody else to do the work, or there's some mindset work that needs to be done around delegation and around feeling comfortable being more hands-off when it comes to your business. A lot of the times, I feel like people who struggle with the latter don't really understand what it means to operate at a high level of efficiency and what it really means to be the boss, be the CEO in their business. Now, here's the thing. I'm actually not an advocate for just jumping into delegating and outsourcing and spending money on that. In fact, I have a whole video around why a lot of business owners actually don't need to hire a VA yet. You guys can check out that video linked above and down below. So if you're not in the position where you're delegating and outsourcing, what is something else that you can focus on? And that is getting the right tools in your business. There are so many tools that you can be using. A lot of them are going to be subscription based, maybe $10 a month, $50 a month, $100 a month, but the amount of time it'll allow you to buy back is completely invaluable. I find some really low hanging fruit opportunities where people can find really good tools that will help them buy back their time. Typically tend to be in around accounting, financing, invoice management, customer service, and managing that customer relationship, and also marketing. There's so many good tools around marketing when it comes to creating and generating content. These are three big rock opportunities where if you don't have any tools that you're using to support you in these areas, there are literally a million out there that could help you get some of your time back. And guys, I don't think I need to explain to you why it's so important to ensure that you have enough time in your business, because ultimately it can lead you to burnout. I've been down that path. I have been burned out, and it is not a joke. It's something that if you haven't experienced, honestly, I can't even explain it to you. When I found myself in a position of burnout, I literally was sleeping 10 to 12 hours a day, barely leaving the house for 2 months. And no, I wasn't depressed at all. I was just exhausted. So let me ask you this question. Can you afford to be burned out? Can you afford to lose 2 to 3 months of work in your business? For most people, the answer is probably no. But here's the thing, you overworking yourself, it's like you are lighting the spark that will eventually lead to burnout. It is only something that's going to backfire, and it is something that you need to get a hold on now. Another huge reason why working more often backfires is that you put yourself in a position where you have to make so many decisions in a day. All day long, you're just making decisions, and that decision fatigue is probably an indication that you either don't have a good strategy, which is not a great place to be in, or you're not actually allowing yourself to execute to the strategy of your business. Instead, you're making daily decisions that might be driving you away from the larger vision that you're working towards. And the other thing is you just lose creative energy. I always say being an entrepreneur requires you to be creative. You have to solve problems, whether it's for yourself or for your clients. But the mental fatigue that comes with having to work a lot of hours, having to make a million decisions in a day, can really put you in a position where you're just not operating in your highest creative energy. Instead, you're probably being reactive. And that's just not the position you want to be in daily when it comes to your business. I always say you almost want to be able to turn your brain off when it comes to regular daily and weekly tasks. You just want to be able to wake up and execute and not have to make so many decisions every single day. And that really requires having good systems and structure in your business, and ideally good people as well. All of that is what allows you to stay in your zone of genius and again, really execute to your highest creative potential and drive your business forward in a meaningful way. I would love if you guys shared down below in the comments section one task that you're planning on cutting out of your to-do list. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe down below. It really helps with the algorithm, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.